Sage for Sagan here, and today we're looking at the Halo Mantis with Spartan EVA. It says it's 4 pieces for 8+ children. Obviously, most people buying this are probably adults. Figure fits in cockpit. So this is a mech, and we're going to open this up and see how it goes together. Let me go ahead and pop the box open. Okay, sliding this out of the packaging, basically the figure is kind of deceptive because it makes you think the parts will be with this figure part outward, but actually almost everything is the opposite direction. So the only thing really, it'd actually almost be better to open it upside down, or what would you consider upside down? Okay, let's look at the figure real quick and then we'll see how we put this together. So he does come with a rifle. It does have a peg on it, so it can peg into his back, much like it looks like on the video games. Well, this is a shotgun. It's a little rubbery, bent, but not too bad. And of course, you could heat it up and straighten it out a little bit more. The articulation on the figure is actually pretty good. Has ratcheting ankles. They do have ankle rocker, which means that the pin is in there at an angle so that when you pivot it, you can put his feet flat on the ground. So his feet can go all the way out like he's broke his ankle almost. He does have knee articulation. This is double jointed knees. They also have a ratchet. So like it bends here and it bends here. The leg does come outward, so he can move his leg forward this much, not very high. And it goes outward and inward a little bit, but the armor does limit the articulation here. He does have a little bit of a wiggle in his diaphragm, you can see here, but it's really slight, like not doing much there. The head does pivot. It looks like it's on a ball. And he can look up a little bit and down a little bit, but not much at all. The arms are also on a ratchet. And they do spin all the way around, so they can go out or around. The elbow has a articulation here. Also swivel and pivot. So you got really good articulation there. And the hands do turn. They also pivot. So, I mean, you got some really good articulation in the arms and legs for a figure that is basically the driver. You know, a lot of people would have been like, well, we can cut cost here and, you know, save a little bit of money by making the driver less articulated since he's just going to be sitting in the vehicle. They didn't do that. They did a really good job on this. Okay, let's go ahead and set that aside. I'm going to stop the video so I can look at the directions. Okay, these might be some of the easiest directions I've ever seen. Basically, the legs, you stand it up. Wow, this thing's going to be tall. I'm going to have to reposition my camera. Hold on one second. Let me pause this. Okay, this is a little crazy. This thing is this tall before I add the actual cabin, top part of the mech where the guy sits. The legs are taller than this whole base from, you know. Now, I am having a little issue. I don't really see any joints that bend outward anywhere except on the feet. So like getting the feet to sit flat and then like be pivoted right might be an issue. It does have articulation, like just to be clear, like this whole part articulates. This whole part articulates separately. The legs articulate separately like a knee. a backwards articulation here. The feet have pivots. They can go forward and up and down a little bit, but the armor does get in the way a little bit. But they do move around quite a bit on the feet. This is cool. I am really impressed. Let me try to put it together and actually get it where I can get it to stand up. Hold on one second. Okay, so I haven't been freehanding much here on my video, but you know, this thing is huge, and quite frankly, by very little movement, like this is actually the shorter way to stand the figure. Like basically, he can stand up even taller than this because I have this joint right here level and this joint right here level. If I stand both those up, it's like a lot taller even then. So let's talk about what's on top of the thing first. You have these lights here where basically it's not actually lights, but it looks like where you would have lights, so he can glow. He can shine a light on subject matter, as it were. He has a back that opens up, and in the back, in the back of the mech, it does open up, and you can see. Well, maybe you could see if I could actually get some light in there. Basically, there is a chair for the driver to sit in. What's also cool is on top of the thing, there's some pegs for his feet to go into, so he can actually stand on top of it even when he's not driving it, while it's in a mode where he could stand on top of it. Okay, so looking at the right arm on the thing, it is a machine gun with like a belt-fed machine gun of some sort, maybe futuristic tech there. And then there's like launcher tubes on the other arm. This thing, like I said, is massive. It is a little finicky to get it to stand up properly. If you were doing it as a display, I would suggest maybe making a mech area for it that is specific to the actual thing. Like I originally thought maybe it'd be the size I could put it in my garage, as it were, that I've already built. It's not. My garage would have to be twice as tall. So you would definitely need to consider that. Obviously, when it's not in attack combat mode in a garage, it could be folded all the way down, maybe. Like maybe that's how they would work on it, or have it sitting. But you can see even now, like I just moved it a little bit, and like getting the legs to sit right, to stand up. And you can turn this part. It does pivot, which would try not to make it fall over. You're trying to fight it a little bit, just getting it displayed and stuff sometimes. So it is a cool toy. It is massive, much bigger than I thought it would be. I'm going to actually fold it down to see how small it goes when it's all the way folded down, and get you some shots of that. Okay, so interesting thing about the way the legs fold here, they do have this plastic piece that keeps this part from folding tighter, the way this is built. And then, of course, this only folds this far. So, realistically, you can't really... It's leaning so far forward when you have it sitting on that, like folded all the way down, that you can't really set it on the like on its feet and have it do that and expect it to stand up. It's just leaning too far forward. So, obviously, in some like Gundam type stuff, when a mech is being transferred, it'll be transferred in a laid down position, and then basically it'll be lifted up on the back of a semi or something, and that will then raise up above that. I mean, this thing is huge. It's a cool mech. I would love to see these hit with some no oil and some dry brushing and stuff. I really think that would be cool. Okay, I had the gun around backwards. That's cool. Hold on one second. And that just shows you I should look at stuff closer before I try to do a video. You can see basically it does have a minigun here, and it is belt fed. It's just that I had it backwards, so I thought it might be something sci-fi different. So that's that gun. The tubes on the back end have the same, like it's basically closed off. So those are like rocket tubes or something. I love like they got all these little like decals or whatever on this. I didn't have to do a sticker pack or anything. You know, you got these like emblems and armor plates and stuff. So that's cool. Look at the detailing. There's chrome detailing, kind of like, it's not really chrome, but it's like a metallic detailing. There's some vents here, and there's some places where maybe you attach power or gas or something. Like I said, this Mantis mech is really cool as far as the design. It is from the video game, but you know, they could have cheaped out on this thing, and they obviously haven't. So let me try to get a decent pose on this thing with the figure inside and stuff and see what we can do. Okay, so here we go with the figure is in the mech, and I was able to turn the arms around a little bit different ways so they're firing forward. What's cool is that they're on a pivot right here, so you can basically point it where they're pointing pretty much almost like at itself almost if need be, or off to the side depending on how you pivot these. The big trick is pivoting this part right here, because this pivots down, and like then you have to flip this one around, because otherwise you can have it where it's above it and shooting, like, or you can have it where it's at the side like this. But if you don't pivot this part right here, it's really hard to get it to pose where anything but behind the head or whatever shots. I'm going to take the figure out and try to pose him on top with his rifle. You should get one of these if you're all interested in mechs. So anyway, this is the Halo Mantis. I hope that you like this review. I am so sorry about the shaky camera. I was not expecting it to be this tall. I don't have the setup right for this big of an item, which is really kind of cool that it's so big. Like, you're seeing my light in the shot that you normally never see because it's just so big. Anyway, like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, pour on the plastic.